Hi guys. Today we are going to review money values, dollar values, coin values, and talk about how that relates to decimals. Because we're going to play a game. So this is just a little review before we do the game part. Okay, so we're going to start with our biggest value that we're going to work with today, which are dollars. So dollars look like that. So that's a dollar. That's what it looks like. That's how you would write it in money form. $1.00. If you wrote it as a decimal and you had a 1.00, you would say it as 1, and you could say 0/10, 0/100. Or if it was a whole number, you could leave off the decimal point altogether and just say 1. So that's how you would write $1. I'm trying to do this with one hand and hold my phone. It's not that easy. Okay, so that's dollar. Next. Okay, next we're going to work on quarters. So that's what a quarter looks like in money notation. And that is what a quarter looks like in real life. I'm sure you've seen them. I'm sure you have them. But that's a quarter. So if you wrote it in dollar notation, we're not going to use the cent sign for this. You could use that, but that's not really, doesn't help our purposes. So we're going to write it in dollar notation. So there's $0, 2 in the tenths place, and 5 in the hundredths place. So if you wrote it as a decimal, 0.25 would also be 25 hundredths or 25 pennies. You could think of it that way. Okay, so that's a quarter. Moving on. Oops. Now you have a dime. Okay, a dime looks like that. That's a dime. Okay, if you wrote it in money notation, it would be 0 in the ones place because there are no ones, a 1 in the tens place, a 0 in the hundredths place. That would be 1 dime. If you wrote it as a decimal, you could say it 2 ways. You could ignore this 0 and call this 1/10. Or if you wanted to include the 0, you could say 10 hundredths. That's how you'd say it in decimal form. Next. Let's talk about nickels. A nickel is written this way in money notation, and you have a nickel. The coin looks like that. If you were to talk about a nickel in terms of decimals, you have a 0 in the tenths place. You could also write a 0 in the ones place. That doesn't hurt anything. Doesn't change the value. So you've got a 5 in the hundredths place, which would be equivalent to 5 pennies. So if I were to say this in decimal notation, it would be 5 hundredths. And last but not least, our good friend, the penny. A penny written in dollar notation would look like this. 1 cent, $1. Not $1, 1 cent, 1 penny. So a penny looks like that. That's a penny. I'm sure you've seen many of them. That would be a penny. In terms of decimals, 1 in the hundredths place would be equivalent to 1 penny. So as a decimal, you would say 1/100. that's what 1 penny would be equivalent to. Okay, so this is just a quick review, and then I'll put up the game later. Okay, have a great day.